Good morning, everybody. Woohoo. Wow. What an interesting last couple days for me, going through my healing process. Uh, when I dealing with all of my menstruation BS, it's like being sick in a lot of ways, because that's what menstruation is predicated upon, is a body triggering an extinction event, and then it's dropping seeds for it to be fertilized. So, when you go through those processes as a woman, it sucks. It's like basically you're sick. But you're not. Your body's just going through a biological process, and you have to ride it out. So anyways, I wanted to cover the thing with the vaccines is a barometer, as well as Jilly Juice is a barometer. But I want to give you a little bit of a back of a foundation, so you understand where I'm coming from. We've established that our whole world is made up of elements, and they're all around us. It's all right here on the periodic tables. Okay, and so biodiversity is made up of elements as well as bacteria. Okay, that's what biodiversity is. It's made up of elements and bacteria. So that's all we're basically narrowed down to. It's all we're simplified down to is elements, which is on the periodic table, and bacteria. Okay, and what is it, like 75-85% of our immune system resides in the gut. So right there ought to tell you that there's something going on with the gut that needs to be addressed for those that are healthy or unhealthy. Okay, so if elements are all around us and we're all simplified down to the elements, to the periodic tables, and then the human body is made up of an elemental composition with bacteria that are good and bad, then we have to understand the whole thing with the vaccines. Okay, now I'm covering the thing with the vaccines because it's been a huge controversial issue in the allopathic and the holistic world. Okay, and I know a lot of you are still anti-vax, still so scared of the allopathic world and the vaccine world. And really truly, when you think about it, vaccines are really a barometer of how unhealthy or healthy you are. Okay, so I'm going to pick apart Learning the Risk campaign, and I'm not going to read Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s whole little diatribe. I actually had to put my foot down in my group because somebody had to ask the question whether or not their uncle who is not on the J-Juice should get a hepatitis vaccine. And I'm like, and I understand that even though you've been following me for a while and someone's not on the J-Juice, is it safe to get a vaccine? And should they get it? And I'm like, God, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to answer. I'm going to say, yes, get the vaccine. Because if you're not on the J-Juice and they're recommending a vaccine because of an outbreak, you better get it, because you don't know what a person is bringing to the table. Okay. And if you are that weak, and we don't know what people are bringing to the table, the government doesn't know, the administration in a hospital or in a public setting doesn't know. So when they recommend a vaccine because of an outbreak, it means it's a pretty serious outbreak. And it is better for a person who they don't know what's going on with their body to get a vaccine in a controlled circumstance versus getting an aggressive virus in the population because it's communicable. Okay? We don't want people dying from preventable diseases. And that's the whole point of the whole vaccine campaign, which, yes, I was anti-vax for a long time because I had to blame somebody for all of my illnesses. And it was the easiest thing to follow the bandwagon and blame the vaccine industry. I fell into that too. And then I learned better. I learned a lot more than what I was prepared for when it came to the vaccines and viruses. Okay? So this whole Learn the Risk. So then somebody in my group asked this question, and then people were very careful in how they were responding because they know my politics now because I've changed. And some people haven't followed me for a while, and they are just putting down articles like Learn the Risk. It does this, it does that, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I'm like kicking this person out. And then they emailed me like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that there was that we couldn't talk about this stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm not anti-vax anymore. I have been talking about this for the last month or two, that I've completely switched my whole politics around when it comes to vaccines, because now we're understanding the power of viruses on a strong or weak body. And that's what it comes down to, is that we have a population that is so weak that they can't handle their environment. And this is why you're seeing cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Yet the earth and the atmosphere and biodiversity is going to continuously create viruses, and how those viruses affect you is based upon how strong or weak you are. That's what it comes down to. And so she's emailing me and saying like, well, okay, I hear what you're saying, as I give her my really quick, spiel on where my head's at with this. She's like, well, I agree with you there, only if they were able to test the vaccines to make sure that they're safe versus unsafe, because allegedly there's a safer vaccine. Now that we understand that elements are all around us, and so the adjuvants that are in the vaccines to stimulate your immune system, to get it like excited to then create antibodies, all they are is what's on here, the elemental composition or the periodic tables. So now you can call it formaldehyde, you can call it aborted fetus cells, you can call it mercury, okay? But that's all that's in the vaccines, is this. So if you just strictly put a virus in a vaccine, it may not do too much, okay? So what the biotech and what the FDA has allowed, because the FDA actually is one that puts their stamp of approval on all these vaccines. Now you can say, oh yeah, there's a backroom deal that the FDA is going to allow these biotech people to go and put out dangerous vaccines because they want to get money, and there's kickbacks and they're all like in collusion. And you can play that game. But if you realize that you have two people that get in the same vaccine and one gets a reaction, one doesn't, and you realize it's not the vaccines, it's the individual. Why everybody doesn't die from a vaccine tells you everything about what truly is what's going on. And that is, people are bringing to the table a lot of issues. Now, you can say like, well, why should you get a vaccine if you're going to potentially risk having an adverse reaction? Because you're going to anyways, you guys. You're going to anyways. If you realize that you cannot prevent pathogens. Well, what are pathogens? Those are elements that potentially on a weak body is going to give you an adverse reaction. But on a strong body, it wouldn't. So it wouldn't be a pathogen to a person. But pathogen, pollution, and chemicals and all the things that are deemed dangerous on a human body is based upon what a person brings to the table. Not everybody is going to deem vaccines as a pathogen. But the people who are weak will, because they can't handle their environment anyways. It wouldn't matter what it is that you expose them to. They couldn't handle it no matter what. Okay? So when you talk about learn the risk, well, here's the thing, moment of truth. If you can't handle the vaccines with the adjuvants in there, you're not going to be able to really assimilate and really adapt to your environment. You're already on that out of control death trajectory, because we have generations upon generations compounding the mutations and the weaknesses. And now you have a child that has to live in a bubble because you're not addressing really truly the root cause of all their issues, because you don't know any better. And that's what it comes down to. You can play the learn the risk game and demonize the vaccine industry, which really are trying to help you assimilate to this ever-changing environment. And we have Africa, which is a great place, a very strong place that has all this info in these viruses and bacterias that now we have deemed to be dangerous because we have weak bodies. We have demonized these things when and then we're afraid to live in a society that has this, and so we're going to be sitting ducks. Not all of us, but those that are afraid of these vaccines are going to be a sitting duck for the ever-changing environment, because the environment's going to change. You're going to have people that are going to be in Africa coming here to the US carrying all these different viruses that on their strong body, hey, it's great. When you're asymptomatic, it means that either you've suppressed your immune system to where you don't show and exhibit any symptoms, or your body can handle the message. Okay? And so this whole learn the risk BS is setting people up to fail. Rather than promoting all of these fear tactics, rather than promoting all of these anti-whatever activism, and you're in the J-Juice group, why don't you promote J-Juice so that way a person could get a vaccine or not get a vaccine and they'll be able to handle their environment? Because guess what? When you strengthen your body with nutrition, when you actually deal with the weaknesses in your body, that right now we have some members in my group are dealing with major weaknesses that they never thought they had, really, truly. Once you deal with those weaknesses and you are promoting strengthening your body, you can handle if there's mandatory vaccines, if somebody's coming through your environment that is totally pathogenic to a person who's weak, that has all of these wonderful messages, and you can handle the message upload. See, why promote the fear? Because then what you're doing is someone that's already weak, who's already fearful, so you're basically setting them up for failure, because you're already compounding their fear and their weaknesses by adding more to it, by saying, oh, learn the risk, oh God, be afraid of the vaccines. Instead of saying, hey, there is strategic nutrition that will help deal with your weaknesses. That way you can handle your environment regardless. And if there is a mandatory vaccination, you'll be able to handle that as well. If there is a mandatory Ebola vaccine that happens in my community of Canton, Ohio, I would do it. And I would no problem with it. And with all the adjuvants, with the mercury, with the aborted fetus cells, the formaldehyde, because guess what those are? You're going to get them anyways in the food supply, in the air, and all around you. And guess what they are? All they are is just basically this. When you hear about the word formaldehyde is just a conglomeration of elements. Instead of itemizing every element and saying, okay, it has this and this and this and this and this, which I could look up the chemical composition of formaldehyde, but I don't really need to. You get it, right? Instead of saying all these different elements that then excite the immune system, they just say formaldehyde. Instead of saying, okay, well, okay, they say aborted fetus cells. I don't know for sure if they're actually putting aborted fetus cells. That's like a conspiracy thing out there that, hey, if they're taking human tissue and putting it in there, there's a reasoning behind it, because some vaccines have a specific target for cancers or for things that are specialized in one area, and maybe these tissues that could be from aborted fetus cells are then specifically sending a specific message. But here's the thing, you guys. If you're doing J-juice and you have a strong immune system, or if you're not doing J-juice and you have a strong immune system and a strong body, which is why not everybody gets adverse reactions, your body will be able to pick that information apart and take away what it doesn't need and then absorb what it does need. And your body's immune system and filtration process will be the one to determine whether it's poisonous or not. So if it's poisonous to you, means you have a fucked up immune system and a fucked up body. So what are you going to do about it? It's not the government's problem to make you healthy. They're just giving you some kind of layer of protection so you can handle your environment and you're not becoming a major pathogenic walking communicable disease person who that is going to be walking through a population that doesn't really take care of themselves, and they decimate a whole area. That's why we don't go to like islands in the middle of the Atlantic with a bunch of natives, because we're going to decimate them with all of our messages. Okay? So with J-juice, it's another barometer of how healthy or unhealthy you are. Some of you claim to be in wonderful, beautiful, ship-shape health, and obviously it's not true. But when you do the J-juice, you're going to realize how unhealthy you are, because the J-juice brings up all your weaknesses, brings up everything that you thought you dealt with way back when you were doing detoxes and changed your lifestyle and changed your eating habits and all that. Oh no, J-juice is the moment of truth. Because let's say back when you switched to becoming a vegan and vegetarian from a regular processed food diet way back when, and then you went into vegan and vegetarian and got onto that whole political bandwagon. Well, yeah, you saw superficial changes, and you applied all these negative programming, which is antibiotics, to then suppress your immune system so you become asymptomatic. When you get inflammation, like a swelling in different parts of your body, and in the allopathic holistic world, what do? You go to the doctor, they inject you with antibiotics and the swelling goes down. You take anti-inflammatories and the swelling goes down. So you interrupted the programming and you think you've healed. And they're like, oh yeah, I healed. I got antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, and then wonderful, great. Then your body adapts to that. Okay, so you killed off that programming. Then that weakness then goes and translates itself into another part of your body. And then you have inflammation and you have all this other issues. And then you're like, oh crap. And then you go inject yourself again with more antibiotics, more detoxes. Maybe you change your diet superficially and then you're like, oh, okay, it disappeared. That's exactly what goes on in the holistic and the allopathic world. So when you actually do J juice, you still have weaknesses. You haven't really dealt with those weaknesses. So if you've had an issue in your mouth, you had issues like in your face, you have issues in your leg, in your other organs, and you're doing J juice doesn't discriminate. Nutrition doesn't discriminate. It wants to strengthen the weaknesses and it will prioritize what is most needed. So when you first do J juice and you actually up your dosage, let's say you're only doing like 1 or 2 cups a day here and there, but you're doing all your detox and all the other stuff, yeah, you're not going to get the real true healing. So you think, oh, okay, no big deal. And then you're still dealing with the same issue. And you're like, why is it getting worse? Why is my issue getting worse, not getting better? Well, then you up the dosage of J juice, which is basically cabbage water and pink Himalayan salt and probiotics, okay? And then you start seeing swelling happen. What is swelling? It's the white blood cells going after the infection. You're actually allowing your hormones, the prostaglandin hormone, to release, not be suppressed with antibiotics, but actually release and do what the job is meant to do, which is go after that weakness and strengthen it, okay? And fix that issue that you've never dealt with. And some of you are going to be seeing some healing that you've never experienced before, and not everybody is going to be able to handle it. Why do people die? Because they've dealt with their symptoms with the wrong programming, with antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, detoxes, cannabis, fasting, and all of that. They never really got to the root cause, never really strengthened their body. They just allowed their body to adapt to their mutations. And then the body finally, like when you have another symptom and you're like 75 years old, 80, and then finally, you take all these different drugs and antibiotics and detoxes and whatever, and you're so weak that you finally shut the body down because you haven't strengthened your body. You just kept basically disappearing your symptoms with the antibiotics. Your body is going to give out. So when somebody, like, that's what I'm saying, you guys, now when you're young or when you're relatively strong, do the J juice because you're strong enough to handle the healing process. You wait till way later when your body is basically like, let's say 75, 85% broken down, and now you're trying to apply a healing process that's very aggressive. It's possible, yes, but it's going to be difficult for most of you. And if you're in hospice, you're trying to apply this healing protocol, and you have people around you that are like, oh my God, and you don't have a support system, forget it. You're not going to be able to even get even a 1 or 2 sips down. There's nobody that's in hospice that's going to be able to really do aggressive drinking of the J juice because it's virtually impossible. It's something that you have to transition on because of the healing, the pain. So that's why when you guys are relatively strong and you're still maintaining, you're still going to work and you're still doing what you do the J juice, fit it in, take the time off to heal. Like, your body, your health is way more priority than your job. Yes, you do your job, but you have to heal because, yeah, you can, that people do, they suppress all of their symptoms when they're in this high-powered, high-aggressive job as a CEO of some company. So they go see a naturopathic or a homeopathic or an allopathic, and they shoot them up with all of these antibiotics and all these different natural remedies. And so they're able to still maintain their wonderful, powerful position, and then one day the body gives out, and now they have more of an aggressive issue that they're being taken down by because they kept basically applying stays of execution every single time a red flag happens, every single time you get a symptom, especially on a weak body. That's basically like your body just weakening and weakening. Every single time that you get a cold or a flu and you apply elderberry syrup or colloidal silver or bentonite clay or diatomaceous earth or any of those kind of antibiotics or turmeric or honey, you've weakened your body exponentially. Every single time you apply cannabis to your body, you've weakened your body exponentially because you're applying the wrong programming. So right now I'm attempting to figure out, which I'm still in the process of doing, is figure out a mathematical equation so you get this. Okay, so you understand that there is an elemental composition to the human body. There is a formula which is the J juice that I have to go and break down and then figure out what symbols that I have to string together to create an actual sentence, like an expression of sorts. Okay. So that way you get it in numbers, why the J juice is the formula to life. Because there is a very specific formula. There's a specific formula, well, to the body, okay? Though the elemental composition of the human body doesn't really talk about the bacteria. It just talks about the minerals that make up the human body. But what's missing from the elemental composition of the human body is the actual bacteria that must be present. And so I'm in the process of looking for some kind of numbers, which they say that 75%, 85% of your health resides in your gut. And then we already know that probiotics is the right gut bacteria. But then what is it paired with? So those are the variables that I have to figure out, that if you're going to be pairing these probiotics with apple cider vinegar, which is fermented ethanol, or milk, which I know some of you are selling your kefir yogurt to all of your friends, and that actually is going to work against somebody, because if they have a candida imbalance, that yogurt is going to then undermine any good process that's going on, or progress. If you're going to be taking kombucha, that of course has probiotics in it, that has fermented sugar. Oh, the people say, oh yeah, the lactobacillus eats the sugar. No, I'm sorry, but when you ferment with sugar, it eats sugar and it shits sugar. Don't get snowed by the marketing in the kombucha world. Okay, so then there's the whole thing with the alcohol. The whole alcohol is a probiotic. That's a bunch of BS, because those alcohols, the sugars, the yeast, the mycotoxins, all of that will work against you. So now you got to figure out, okay, so if your gut needs to have the lactobacillus, it has to be paired with the right thing that's not going to cause an imbalance, an already imbalanced system. So, but then, so when the people are like, well, I'll just take I'll just take like a probiotic supplements. Do you know if you have too much lactic acid in your body, that actually is a sign of rigor mortis. It is a chemical that gets released in your body that actual pestilence gets attracted to. We just discovered that. If you're getting bit by mosquitoes, you have too much lactic acid built up. That's a sign of rigor mortis. When somebody is dead, their lactic acid builds up, and that's their whole rigor mortis stuff, okay? So insects recognize a dying body. That's why they bite people. Even though you're not dying, but they recognize dying tissue, and they bite and they feed off of that. And they inject their programming, which then further decimates a person. Pestilence actually cleans up the earth. So if you're getting bit by mosquitoes and fleas, and you have parasites, and you have scabies, and you're getting bit by ticks, you are actually on a major death trajectory, and they're just trying to finish you off. Those are the indicators when somebody has a major imbalance. So you can have an imbalance of lactic acid too. Okay, so then what keeps the lactic acid from overbuilding? Oh, it's electrolytes. When somebody is a runner, we have these athletic people out there. They're like, oh yeah, I'm so healthy. I'm running and working out, and I'm like this accountability coach, and I'm like rolling my eyes over, whatever, right? They produce lactic acid. Okay, and guess what? When you have cramps, okay, because you're exercising so much and you have cramps, guess what they tell you? Oh yeah, take electrolytes to go and disperse the lactic acid. So that's why J juice is so revolutionary, is because not only does it have the lactobacillus, which the byproduct is lactic acid, but it has the electrolytes to keep that balance. And it has the nutrition that your body obviously needs. It has the water. And what is electrolytes made up of? Is salt, potassium, and some other minerals that you can go Google, okay? And that's why it is like such a powerhouse that is not poisonous, because it's everything that keeps a balance, and it's aligned with the elemental composition of the human body, as well as what your body needs as far as bacteria. But you just taking a probiotic, like this whole thing with Plexus, you go read everything that's in Plexus. Oh, it has minerals, but it also has a bunch of sugar. You think people are going to drink anything that doesn't taste sweet? Oh, hell no. Why is all these shakes and and powders and all these things that you mix with stuff. Why do people take it? Because it tastes good. Why does it taste good? Because it's sweet. Why do you have sweet taste buds in your mouth? So you can differentiate between sweet, salty, and savory. So you know how much you're bringing in, so you know how much that, so you can keep a balance. But if you're gravitating towards the Plexus supplements, if you're gravitating towards all those shakes that have chocolate, which is basically it's like a type of, it's like a drug because it stimulates your oxytocin, gives you the pleasure center. So if you're taking those chocolate shakes with all of those minerals and probiotics, if you're taking fruit juices with the probiotics, that's a bunch of sugar. Why it tastes so good? Because it's full of freaking sugar, and you already have an imbalance and an addiction, and then you're going and working out and being like this workout queen. So then you're further degrading your body, and guess what? You see the aging process accelerate. Just watch all the workout queens on the thing. We have mutual friends, guys. Watch your workout queens and kings. If they're not doing J juice, most of them are not doing J juice. Look at Jason Christoph. There's an example of a workout king stuck in the conspiracy world. And hey, he has a great following. You know why? Because he plays the fear campaign, plays the fear card. If he actually did J juice, he couldn't be on doing his stuff. He would have to hide behind the keyboard and not at all do any pictures of a recent picture, because he'd be going through the healing process. And it ain't pretty. If you go into my group, we have people that are dealing with the healing process. They don't look beautiful. I didn't look beautiful going through the healing process, because that is the moment of truth, when all the weaknesses that you've been hiding and shoving through all of your lifestyle, it's going to come to surface, and people are going to know your weaknesses. And that's okay, because you're now saying, okay, I'm finally going to deal with the weaknesses in my body. I'm not going to pretend I'm so healthy, which many do out there, because they buy into the social construct to have a six-pack, to have a skinny body, to be like all driven and disciplined. Oh yeah, I get up every morning, I run 50 miles a day, and I only eat this food, that food. I stay away from the processed food. And they play the whole judgmental game. They play the whole I'm going to live in a bubble game, and play the whole, this is how you live life game. And then one day they're going to knock off dead, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it was their time, and all their followers be like, oh, if they were a great person, they were a great influence, I want to be just like them, and they fall over the cliff right over with them. That's not what J juice is about. We don't play those games. We want you to be able to adapt to your environment, be able to, if it's FDA approved, or if it's a vegetable or fruit, you should be able to eat it. When I eat popcorn, like Smart Food, that has minerals, that has hormones in it, has minerals, it has salt, which is minerals, it has nutrients, and then my body then releases, and guess what it releases? You feel like there's like these little, like I can feel it coming through my ass, but it's like the corn pieces that are like, that feel like plastic. Okay, the body releases the excess, but it derives nutrition. If you have too many minerals, let's say you eat a food that has too many minerals that your body can't handle, your body will let you know. It'll release it right away, because it's not utilizing anything in it. But if your body actually goes through an overnight process like mine does every morning, I don't eat food and immediately shit it out like in the next 5 or 10 minutes. If that happens, you're eating a major poison. So if you are so here's the thing with the J juice. When you do the J juice, the body is bringing to surface a lot of stuff. Now, if you are shitting like right away, or if you are with the J juice, or if you're throwing up, it means that you have issues that are already in your body that the body is then bringing to surface from the nutrition. See, that's where it's about context, okay? So the J juice context, when you are not everybody throws up on J juice, believe me. Some people do, some people don't. It depends on how severe your situation is, okay? But when you actually go out there and eat regular food, just regular processed food, okay, and you're automatically throwing up or whatever, you have an allergic reaction, or there's poison in that food, or you're so over mineralized that it can handle that macaroni and cheese or that processed food. So what we're actually attempting to do with J juice is to where you finally strengthen your weaknesses, and you heal and seal your body and strengthen your filtration process. That way you could eat the food supply regardless of what it is, whether it's a chicken nugget, whether it's a mac and cheese, whether it's a processed food, and then your body will able to derive nutritional benefit from it. And you still do the J juice, and you still eat fruits and vegetables. Because really what processed foods is basically all your fruits and vegetables, or all the different minerals, are all put together in a specific food item. That's what processed food is. That's what fruits and vegetables are. Is basically all these minerals put together in a conglomeration, in a package. Food is a package of this. That's what it is. Food is a package of this. So if you're playing the whole discrimination game, well, you can't eat processed food, you can't eat this, only eat fruits and vegetables, you fail to understand the elemental composition of the world, as well as the elemental composition of the human body. Because food is a package, and it will send a message to your body, and then your body will then receive the message, and then it'll be able to process it or not. And if you can't process processed food, then you have major issues. So if you're playing the discrimination game, then you fail to understand the J-Juice protocol. You're still in the, I want to live in a bubble, be judgmental, and pretend I'm all healthy, but not do the J-Juice, because the J-Juice is the moment of truth. J-Juice will tell you exactly how unhealthy you are. And believe me, some people are getting major wake-up calls. And some people don't want to face how unhealthy they are, so they won't do the J-Juice. Because they'd rather snow everybody to think, oh yeah, I'm so healthy, I just eat fruits and vegetables and that's it, and play that game. And then they won't ever do the J-Juice. Oh no, it's poison. Say, oh yo, the salt's poison. Oh, they'll find ways to basically like demonize J-Juice, because they know that is the moment of truth. J-Juice is the moment of truth. It will not let you lie anymore. And some people still want to live a lie. So yeah, so those of you that are still playing the old fruits and vegetables and demonizing meat and demonizing processed food, you still play the game. You don't understand the J-Juice world. And you'll continue to live a lie until Mother Nature then tells you, okay, you haven't earned your place on this earth, so we're going to let you degrade. And that's what happens, you know, because you only have two choices in life. If you want to live symptomatic free, okay, fine, but you got to earn it. Some people have not earned being symptomatic free. So that's fine. You can play the synthetics and do all the things to stop the healing process. But eventually the devil does take his due. The devil does want his due. And that's the aging process. That's the cancer, disease, and chronic illness process. The devil will take his due if you're not actually earning your right to be asymptomatic. So that's the J-Juice world. That's why it gets so much crap, because people don't want to face truly what is going on inside. They want to play the discrimination game. They want to carve out a piece of the market and be like, oh yeah, I'm so healthy, I look beautiful, my family is beautiful, I look beautiful, I work out, I only eat fruits and vegetables, I play the discrimination game. And people who are weak will gravitate towards that because they have no other kind of model than that, because that's the model that's been continuous for the last hundreds and hundreds of years. No one's changed the paradigm. Well, maybe now it's time to change the paradigm. We don't have to die. You don't have to play the discrimination game and play only fruits and vegetables and that's it, because that's not enough. But with the J-Juice, you have to discriminate a little bit so that you can keep the balance. But we're not eradicating sugar at all. You have the fruit sugar, you have the potatoes, and some of you are going to eat off the diet anyways, and you're going to do the J-Juice, okay, fine. But if you already have a major candida imbalance, it would behoove you to be a little bit discerning and discriminating in the beginning. Okay? But you can have chicken. See, even now down the road, I could eat a whole thing of steak if I want to. I don't want to all the time. I don't crave steak, but sometimes I had craved steak in the last like couple months, where I said I had like 2 steaks in one weekend. But I don't crave it all the time. I haven't had it in a while. I'll have some, like yesterday, the day before, I had a few chicken nuggets, a few fish sticks, and all it is just hormones and elements that your body needs, and the body is going to then distribute accordingly, okay? And then I have the J-Juice and water, and then I'll eat some smart food. So I look at the food supply. It's a diversity of minerals and nutrients and hormones and water, which you need. Some of you can produce your own hormones, but others, you know, which is fine. We all produce hormones, but some of us need a real quick shot of hormones. So that's why there is the meat industry. Now you can get political and be like, oh, they need to have a humane meat industry, which I completely understand. But meat in of itself is not a bad thing. Okay? So your body's able to process these types of foods out there that are FDA approved, or the fruits and vegetables that don't have to be FDA approved. And if your body is very well functioning and well balanced, it'll be able to manage those messages, those packages of elements. That's what food is. Processed foods as well as fruits and vegetables. All they are packages of elements. Some actually have the good gut bacteria, which is the J juice. So it has the package of this, plus then the bacteria that your body needs. That is like 40 trillion bacteria cells in your body over the 30 trillion human cells. That's why there's so much healing with the J juice, because we're bringing in so much lactic or lactobacillus, coupled with the electrolytes, coupled with the nutrition, and doing a little bit of a discrimination game in the beginning. But the real intention is that you're able to handle all of the food supply. You're not going to be playing the discrimination game. You're not going to be playing the political game, which is so famous. So yeah, some of you are so beautiful. You're skinny, you have really good skin, and you're playing the, oh, I'm eating only fruits and vegetables, I stay away from processed foods. That's the lies that are out there. And so someone who doesn't know any better is going to buy those lies. You're not talking about J juice at all, I know that. But you're playing the whole, I only eat fruits and vegetables and clean foods and clean eating, and you're not even talking about J juice at all. And so somebody who has no idea, yeah, they may change their diet, but they haven't earned their asymptomatic lifestyle. And then they start getting symptoms, and guess what? Then they turn to the holistic industry or the allopathic industry. Oh, I have this inflammation, I have this, I have that. Oh yeah, take the colloidal silver, take the turmeric, take the zeolite. Oh God, the chemtrails. Take this, take that. And they have further weakened their body. And you've contributed to that because you've created a lie around who you are. Maybe you're doing J juice, but you're not telling anybody you're doing J juice. And so you're selling this whole clean lifestyle, but not even mentioning J juice. So actually you're lying about your actual health. J juice actually contributed to your health and your beauty, but you're too afraid of the backlash. And so you're going to sell a lifestyle that really doesn't exist, that exists, but it's a lie. Because I'm telling you, vegans and vegetarians are degrading as fast as meat eaters on a very weak body. Okay? So I know what some of you are doing out there. You're promoting something that isn't true. You're completely lying to your friends and family because you don't want the backlash of J juice. But J juice is actually contributing. If you are doing J juice and you're selling the whole fruits and vegetables, then you're totally lying to your friends and family, setting them up for failure. If you truly understood J juice, you wouldn't be selling this clean lifestyle of fruits and veggies. You'd be saying, hey, you know what? With the J juice, I can handle my environment. I can handle the vaccines. I can handle the viruses. I can handle the food supply regardless. I can handle McDonald's. I bet you some of you who are this clean eating life, whatever person, wouldn't even mention McDonald's. You know why? Because you're not really selling the lifestyle that you actually are doing. You're selling something totally, and that's, so anyways, because I have eaten McDonald's. I have eaten a lot of different things that these political clean eating lifestyle people would never, ever propagate. But I drink J juice because I can handle, see, the time that doing J juice is going to like help, no, it's the fact that I understand these are all elements. They're just packages of information. Some you can compartmentalize, but you don't want to eat just straight salt. If you take all the minerals and the hormones, and yeah, all the minerals and the hormones in McDonald's, it would all be this. You're not going to go and figure out, well, how much of this element to this element to this element. So that's all McDonald's is a conglomeration of elements. A fruit and a vegetable, all it is basically a conglomeration of elements. But then you look at your body. If your body is that imbalanced and you're already over mineralized, then maybe you need to bring in another set of minerals. So if you're over mineralized, you have imbalances, and you have a body that's not working correctly, you need to bring in the right conglomeration of minerals. And you may have to chill out on certain foods in the beginning to allow your body to heal and then eliminate the bad stuff. Once you get your lymphatic system, your digestive system, and all your systems, your filtration processes working perfectly great, then you're going to see the healing process. You're going to see swelling. You're going to see all these different things. And then you'll be able to eat a McDonald's hamburger. You'll be able to eat a pizza. You'll be able to eat things that you used to avoid and demonize. You'd be able to eat meat if you wanted to. And it won't affect you adversely. You can get a vaccine that has formaldehyde, aborted fetus cells, and mercury, and all this stuff, and it would not affect you adversely. You'll be able to handle your environment. That's the whole point of J-Juice, because right now we are contributing to basically putting people in a bubble to where they cannot handle their environment. And that is the wrong approach, my dears. Wrong approach. And this is why we're seeing glitches in the population. This is why we're seeing school shootings and mass shootings and people killing their babies and killing each other and doing all these crazy things and victimizing and bullying and criminal activity, because we're promoting a game that is setting people up to fail. And you may have great intentions. Oh yeah, working out and staying away from processed foods and doing this and doing that. Oh, sorry, honey, but you don't know what people bring to the table. So you could be compounding and creating these crazy criminals because of the fact that you're not being true to what exactly is contributing to your health. There are people that have mental illness that are trying to turn vegan and vegetarian, and they're starving themselves. They're not bringing in the right nutrition. You think they can live off of celery juice and apples and pears? That's all straight freaking sugar or totally antibiotic. You think someone starving themselves, only eating fruits and vegetables, becoming a vegan and vegetarian, is that going to help someone that already has major imbalances? Yeah, it may superficially alleviate some of the symptoms, but they haven't earned that because they haven't fixed the actual issue. They just kind of superficially change the programming. Anytime you change your diet, you change the programming. Does it mean it's good? No. It just means you change the programming. But you think a change, okay, is a good thing, you're healing. No, because you're applying the wrong programming to a body that's completely malfunctioning to the point where you have to feel like you have to change your diet. Because believe me, people don't change their diet and change their lifestyle if it wasn't for something really aggressive going on. And then they go apply another programming and it causes them more harm and more issues. Though, you know, I mean, they'll think that, oh, if I'm asymptomatic, that's great. When you have symptoms, it means that the body is trying to heal, and then people misread these symptoms and they apply the wrong programming, and there you go. They're on that accelerated death trajectory. So yeah. So Jilly Juice is the barometer. Those of you that are propagating your clean lifestyle, not even mentioning Jilly Juice, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to your community. J-Juice, if you actually apply J-Juice, is the moment of truth. And do you really truly want to know the truth about your body, or you just want to sell an image? And that's what we deal with out there. People who eat the clean, clean lifestyle, the clean living, the clean eating, the workout artists. They're selling an image. Because if they really truly brought in the nutrition, that image would be completely destroyed. So, believe me, healing is not beautiful. Healing is not beautiful. So if you're selling that healing is beautiful and it's so like wonderful, and it's just like, oh yeah, we've had these detoxes and now you got to ride it out. When you're doing the detoxes, you're poisoning your body. See, there is a context. J-Juice is everything that the body needs, because we've already substantiated that in separate circumstances as well as it put together. But when you're taking in just celery juice, when you're taking in, if you're just doing fasting, which I do not recommend anyone to do, if you're taking in zeolite, bentonite clay, apple cider vinegar, you're actually poisoning your body, because those actually work against the body. It's not the right conglomeration of elements and bacteria. And so when you're going through these detoxes, you kind of shut down the voice of your body. But you will still go through an episode of homeostasis, yes. But you're misreading those messages. And then your mind makes it mean, because Because your mind is going to justify why it is that it's okay to be sick when you're taking poisons. Your mind's going to justify why it's okay to starve yourself. Your mind's going to justify it because you're applying the wrong programming and you're not really taking everything to chemistry, biochemistry, mathematics, and chemistry, chemistry and physics. That's why we have to revert now back to physics, chemistry, biochemistry, and mathematics. Not this lifestyle that we're selling with these beautiful words. Oh, clean eating. What the hell is freaking clean eating? What the hell? Come on. That's the marketing. If you really truly understood what was behind all of these different diets and all the different chemistries in your body, you wouldn't be selling these types of lifestyles to people. So that's why I'm in the process of trying to take the J juice and the elemental composition of the human body and break it down to some kind of mathematical equation. And that right now is going to be difficult. But I'll figure it out. I mean, I'm going to be wrestling around with it because it's not going to be easy. Because we've got to get away from the fancy, beautiful words that is basically lying to people out there. Healing is not beautiful. Healing is not working out. Healing is not eating clean. Because what is clean? Clean is based upon what a person brings to the table. So you can eat clean on a dirty body. It's not going to make a freaking difference. You can be beautiful on the outside, but you have really messed up on the inside. There's a lot of deception in the healing community, a lot. It's not as pretty as they claim to be. Don't let somebody's beauty make you believe that what they're doing is actually healthy. Because remember, real true healing is not beautiful. Real true healing is not beautiful. It's an ugly process and it sucks. That's why it's not popular. That's why J juice is not popular, because you're not beautiful throughout the whole process. You're going to want to hide for a while. All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.